Good morning, students. We have already completed our first chapter, The Fun They Had, from the book Beehive. And today, let's begin with the first chapter, The Lost Child, from our second book, Moments. I have already shared the PDF with you, and hopefully, you have gone through the story. Had it been our class, I would have surely taken your feedback and would have listened to your views on what you felt after reading the story. But unfortunately, let it be a one way of communication right now. I will tell you what I feel whenever I read this story. This is a very emotional story which makes me feel the child's agony, and I can listen to his desperate cries when he gets lost from his parents. This is so pathetic, like the child who actually wanted to enjoy the day with his parents finally gets lost. And one more thing, there are four characters in the story: the child, his parents, and then we'll meet a stranger towards the end of the story. You see, all of them are unnamed. We do not know anyone's name. We do not know the boy's age. We even do not know the name of the village. We do not know anything about them. And that is why I guess the child gains more sympathy from us. And this child, trust me, will always remain immortal in our minds and hearts. And this the unnamed characters represent the universal picture of everything. See, the small boy actually represents almost every other small boy in this world. The parents represent every other parents in this world. Now, one more thing. When he desires to have all those things that his heart craves for, his parents constantly say a no. Now, were they rude and harsh? No, students, they were not rude and harsh. Actually, the parents wanted the child to learn the difference between a need and a desire. Desires are unlimited, cravings are unlimited. So the parents wanted the child to know how to put a full stop or how to put a comma to his desires. Because if you buy and if you collect everything that your heart craves for, you can never attain that level of satisfaction, that level of contentment. Okay, and satisfaction only leads to happiness. When you are satisfied with whatever things you have, then only you can be happy. Because see, there is no end to desires. One desire is fulfilled, another desire crops up. So maybe the parents wanted the child to know this. We'll discuss all these things towards the end of the story. Let's not delay much. We'll just jump into the story. I'll read the thing that is written in pink ink. Wow, pink ink rhymes. A child goes to a fair with his parents. He is happy and excited and wants the sweets and toys displayed there. But his parents don't buy them for him. Why then does he refuse when someone else offers them to him? And this is the irony of the story. Why does he refuse all those things when someone else offers them to him? When the stranger offers all those things to the boy, he does not want those things anymore. Why is it so? Little while ago he had craved for every other thing. Then why was it so? Because whatever the child desired for, whatever the child craved for, was actually with the togetherness of his parents. He wanted it along with the comfort, or he wanted all those things under the presence of his parents. He wanted those things with his parents, not without their presence, not without his parents. He wanted all those things, but with his parents. Now, see, he's totally lost. Now, whatever you say, the parents lost the child or the child lost his parents. But then he got lost. The child got lost, isn't it? And you see, the story is actually an open ended narrative where conclusions are not clearly stated. We are left to resolve the situation with our own imagination. Now you see, it is up to us to decide whether the stranger helps him or not. Was the stranger good, or he had some kind of evil intention in his mind? But I want to imagine positive things. Why to think of negativity, isn't it? So, what I feel, the stranger becomes an angel in his life who will surely help him out. But then again, that's towards the end of the story, and we'll discuss it afterwards. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. So it's springtime. When we say spring, what comes to your mind? Beautiful flowers, fragrance, rejuvenation, freshness, all these things come to our mind. So spring is a kind of resurrection. Spring is a time of rebirth, isn't it? All the dead things are again reborn in the season of spring. So it's springtime and people are celebrating the arrival of spring. So it's a festive season which actually celebrates the springtime. Now we see the spring season, which is actually very symbolic of rebirth, is also very significant in the story because we will find the boy takes a kind of rebirth towards the end of the story. But again, I repeat, these are the things to be discussed at the end of the chapter. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. So these are the villagers who are very happy, gaily clad. So they are dressed in happiness. Clad is dressed. They are dressed in happiness, and this humanity is the group of villagers who are actually going to visit the fair which has been held to celebrate the spring festival. Now, some of them walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. Now, see, riding on horses clearly states that this time dates back somewhere before the contemporary period. Okay, so it's not this modern period, it's before that period. Now, one little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. So, we have this unnamed little boy who ran between his father's legs. He's so happy, he's so jubilant. He ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. Now, brimming is overflowing. Now, when I say overflowing, you cannot read it this way, that overflowing over with life and laughter. It does not sound so correct. Overflowing over with life and laughter. So, brimming over with life and laughter, brimming over with, those three words are to be counted as a whole. Brimming over with. Brimming over with is a figurative expression which means full of. So this boy was full of life and laughter. So he was very happy. A small boy, an innocent boy who is very happy to visit the fair with his parents. Come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind, because he's so cajoled, he's bewitched, he's surprised, he's mesmerized with the beauty of the fair, with all the fascinations which surround him. So the parents call him, come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. Now there are certain shops along the way, lined the way. Which way? The way towards the fair. So they are not yet in the fair, they are going towards the fair, and when they are walking towards the fair, there are few shops which are lining the way, okay, at the side of the road or path. So there are certain shops, and he can see the toys over there, and he is very fascinated. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call. Now he ran towards his parents, his feet very obedient to their call. Who is there? The parents' call. Now see, the feet, obedient. Feet has been personified. Okay, so there is, we find a kind of personification over here, wherein the feet are actually obedient to the call of the parents, and that is why he runs towards his parents. His eyes still lingering on the receding toys. His eyes still lingering. Lingering means remaining. His eyes were still there on the receding toys. Now receding, which receding is the opposite of proceeding. Okay, receding means moving back. So as he proceeds the towards the fair, the toys are actually moving back. Okay, they are going away from him, so they are receding. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old cold stare of refusal in their eyes. He could not suppress the desire. So, actually, he is fascinated by one of the toys in the shop, and he could not suppress his desire. He could not hide his fantasy for that toy. So, what does he do? He actually tells his parents, he pleads, he requests, and says, I want that toy. Though he knew the refusal in their eyes, he could sense the refusal in their eyes, the old refusal which he was actually accustomed to, the cold refusal, cold, very unfriendly refusal. So he was used to this refusal. Still, he tried and he requested and says, I want that toy. His father looked at him red eyed in his familiar tyrant's way. So his father looked at him red eyed very strictly. Okay, in a familiar, just now I told you he is accustomed to this. So tyrant is cruel, so in a very cruel way, in a very harsh way, he looks at him. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, melted by the free spirit of the day, his mother is actually emotional. She has become emotional, and what has made her emotional? The free spirit of the day. So she is emotional due to the free spirit of the day, due to the cheerful nature of the day. She became little emotional, and giving him her finger to hold, said, look, child, what is before you? So she tries to distract the child. She does not scold the child. She knows that the father looked at him in a very tyrant way, looked at him in a very harsh way. So she became very emotional. The day made her emotional, and that is why she gave her finger to the child and said, look, child, what is before you? So, just there are so many things which we'll find in the fair. So, do not think about that toy. Let's move ahead. Look, child, what is before you? So, she tries to distract the child. Now, what did she try to show the child? It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold, as it swept across miles and miles of even land. So she showed the child a flowering mustard field. Now, see, the field has been compared to melting gold. What do you say? Such expressions, pale like melting gold. Remember, simile. So, the field has been compared to melting gold, a golden yellow color, okay, as it swept across miles and miles of even land. So, they could see vast stretches of mustard fields, miles and miles of even land. So, beautiful landscape, beautiful golden yellow landscape. A group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy purple wings. So now the next that comes to their sight is a group of dragonflies which were bustling about. Bustling is moving very energetically, moving very busily on their gaudy purple wings. Gaudy is bright, bright purple wings. Gaudy. Your dress is very gaudy. So gaudy is bright, bright purple wings, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee. So, what were these dragonflies doing? These dragonflies were actually intercepting. Intercepting means obstructing. They were hindering the flight of a lone black bee. So, there was a black bee, it was lonely, a single black bee, or single black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. So these dragonflies, these group of dragonflies, they were obstructing the flight of this lone black bee or the butterfly, which were actually in search of sweetness from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch it. So, see, uh, a very innocent boy, mesmerized by whatever he sees. So soon he is away from those toys, and now he is totally into these dragonflies and butterflies and these beautiful landscapes. So he went to catch this mm, lone black bee or the butterfly, but it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air. Now, see, when it's written, he would try to catch it. Now, this it means any single thing, isn't it? Now, this won't be the group of dragonflies, and what I feel, he would not go and catch the black bee. So, it could be that butterfly. But it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air when he had almost caught it in his hands. Then his mother gave a cautionary call. Come, child, come. Come onto the footpath. So, poor boy, um, little boy, gets fascinated, gets tempted by whatever colorful things he actually sees. That is why he has to be reminded by his mother that you need to come to the footpath. So he has gone somewhere into the fields, or maybe um, in the garden, or where the bees and these butterflies and these dragonflies they are flying. So the mother reminds him to come to the footpath. Now, can you notice one thing? All things are very bright. They have been described in a very gaudy, then bright, and the mustard field, which is like melting gold. All this symbolizes the happiness, the jubilance in the atmosphere, because it's springtime. So everything is happy. And apart from the child losing his parents, and when we come to know how pathetic the picture is, we feel sorry for the child who has lost his parents, and then we keep on thinking as to what will happen to the child. There is a hidden theme, there is a sub theme in the story too. And what is that sub theme? Over here the author Mulkraj Anand is actually all praise for nature, the gift of God. So he is all praises for the bounties of nature. So the first page we see, he's actually praising, he's actually thankful to the Almighty for his gifts. Okay, it could be the mustard field, the bees, the dragonflies, and there are many other things which we come across now. So he ran towards his parents gaily, very happily. He ran towards his parents and walked abreast of them for a while. Walked abreast of them, walked side by side. So, abreast is a very good word. Abreast means when you walk side by side, we say walking abreast. So, walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind. Again, this poor boy is left behind. Why? Because this time attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. So now he is all tempted to see those little insects and worms who have come out to enjoy the sunshine, because it's springtime, it's beautiful time. Come, child, come. His parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. So, they are actually tired. They must be taking some rest, and that is why they are sitting on the edge of a well, and they are calling the child, who is again attracted to the things that surround him. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. So, what did he start doing? Actually, he ran towards his parents because his parents called him. But then soon he got lured by the raining petals, and he started collecting them. But lo, he heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents, shouting, "The dove! The dove!" The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. So see, as soon as he collects the petals, he is again attracted to the cooing of the dove. So this child is actually, he is very innocent. Very innocent, does not know how to put a comma to his unending list of desires. He is fascinated, he is attracted to every small thing that surrounds him, and that is actually beautiful and little different. So no sooner did he collect the falling petals than he got attracted to the cooing of the doves. And what happened? When he actually shouted, "The dove, the dove!" the petals dropped from his forgotten hands. Forgotten hands? The hands which forgot that they had uh, cupped the flowers, they had cupped the raining petals. So the hands were forgetful. Again, a kind of personification. The hands were forgetful. Forgetful of what? Forgetful of the petals that were cupped inside them. "Come, child, come!" they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers. Capers is a kind of, dancing and skipping movements are capers. So, running in wild capers round the banyan tree and gathering him up, they took the narrow, winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. So, what do the parents do? Gathering him up, they took the narrow, winding footpath. So, taking the child, they take a winding footpath, a narrow footpath could be a shortcut to the fair, which was through the mustard fields and led to the fair. Now, as they entered the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair, a typical Indian village fair. See, he could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair. Mulkraj Anand stories generally depict the Indian rural village with all its charm, beauty, pomp, and gaiety. And over here, this village is actually celebrating the festive season of spring. So there is a throng, there is a crowd, and there is a confusion of the world confusion of the world, because it's so crowded, so everyone seems to be confused. Footpaths full of throngs is densely packed crowd, is known as throng. So huge crowd, and he entered into the fair. From this portion, a sweet meat seller hawked. We'll continue this in our next class. Till then, we pause here. Please go through whatever we have done, and let me see if I can give you a question based on what we have done today. It will be very good. Uh, I'll send it to you through the drive folder. Okay? Thank you.